Welcome to Soma Games and our brand new Redwall set. Before we kind of jump right into it, this is our first of we're going to call developer updates. Bottom line is we are stealing shamelessly from Sea of Thieves. We basically like everything that their guys are doing, so we thought this would be fun to create a little developer update set. And I'm sure we'll get some great shots for you guys can see the whole thing. It was built and designed by Elizabeth Huddick, who originally we got introduced to when she made a game booth for us for GDC for our G Prime release going back, I think, like 2 years now. But Elizabeth put all of this together and created it from all kinds of funny things that you'd never understand, or I should say never believe, but what she's able to communicate into things. It's just beautiful. Okay, so apart from that, we wanted to use today for a big announcement, which is the release of Escape the Gloomer. So Escape the Gloomer is now the second episode game, I guess, in the Lost Legends of Redwall series. And it's produced by Scott Adams and Clopas LLC, friends of ours, and it is a modern take on the text adventure genre. It's available on Steam today. So let me tell you a little bit about Escape the Gloomer and about Scott Adams. If you don't know about Scott Adams and about Escape the Gloomer, let me tell you a little bit about Scott. Back in the 70s and 80s, he was certainly one of the pioneers, if not the inventor, of the text adventure game genre. It's like he was way out there in front of everyone. And if you were gaming back in those days, like I want to say I was in middle school, maybe high school, depending on when I first ran into him. But playing those games on my friend's TI-99 was a hugely formative experience. We would go into this game, and it was just fantastic what was possible. And it was really one of the core things that got me building games in the first place. Keith and I built a game. Clark and I built a game. I'm sure they built games together. Like there was just this energy that came out of that, and it's a big part of why I'm here today. Now Scott did great with all of his games. Had a great career. But he had retired. But a couple years ago, we met him at a conference, and we made friends and got talking about Redwall. And next thing you know, he agreed to make this brand new game based on the Redwall world. So we're super excited for what Scott's done. It's sort of a coming out of retirement thing, and it's a modern take on those same text adventure genres that he was absolutely starting back then. And the new Escape the Gloomer is set around the Mossflower book, and just like the Scout, it is a parallel story. So of course you might see the Gloomer, who's the name of the title. That is the blind, crazy rat that fights Stormfin the Pike in that big climactic scene. Great scene. Anyways, we kind of start from that area, and we have our own parallel story. It's a text adventure game in general, but think moving forward with visuals and music, a much bigger library for verbs and nouns, and so it's really more like interactive radio drama now. So, as I mentioned, right now it's available on Steam, but on Black Friday, which I think is a week from today, it will also be available on the Alexa, which I think you can see here. So, what was great with the UI and everything else, the whole thing really lends itself just to storytelling and talking to it back and forth. So, it's a great match for voice-activated things. And so that will be available on Alexa here in a week. And then we will also be porting the whole thing over to mobile at some point. I know we've been testing an Android build, and then you get kind of the best of both worlds. You can use voice with either Google Voice or Siri on top of having the UI, and you can type. So it puts the whole thing together, and it's a very cool experience that we're excited about. So check out escapethegloomer.com for that brand new thing for Escape the Gloomer. On top of that, I'm going to do up some kind of housekeeping for some things. We're going to try to keep these updates to about 10 minutes, and I've got a lot today, and I don't want to talk too fast. But let me say we have the costume contest that was closed. It was the Halloween cosplay, and the winners. Well, I should say all the contestants. Like we really raised the bar. We didn't really know what to expect, and the truth is we didn't give you guys a lot of time. But people really jumped up and did some great stuff, and the winner is someone whose name I'm not sure I'm knowing how to pronounce this right. It may be Tsebreso, maybe. Starts with a silent capital T, and anyways, figure it out. But if you haven't had a chance to check out her video post about how she built this thing in the process, it's fantastic. And she built a whole costume based on Slagar the Cruel, aka Chicken Hound. Really, really cool costume, and so like huge props for that. And she won a $1,000 prize for that. What we really wanted to do was see the Redwall fandom start to have a chance to really expand beyond its immediate space into the broader fandom space. So what we've seen is folks either know Redwall and they love it, or they've never even heard of the thing. And we'd like to see that barrier broken and kind of a broader audience involved. And we thought cosplay would be a great way to do that. So that's why we started this contest. And it went really, really well. Tsebreso and lots of others really brought the bar up to the next level. But we're going to do it again because it was so much fun and give people a lot more time. So we're going to run the same contest, another $1,000, but this time the deadline is ComicCon. I think is mid-July, thereabouts. So if you're into cosplay but you didn't have enough time for this one, do it again. Tsebreso, like, man, the gloves down. If you're going to make another one, you can't enter the same contest twice. But you did awesome work, so thanks for that. We also will give you a quick update on what's going on with the Scout. In case you haven't noticed, the first piece of the Scout launched on September 14th on Steam. That's gone really well. We got great feedback. There was a major update about a month later. We called it the Vermin update. It added 2 new levels and a bunch of more interactions with the rats. And currently we are finishing up what we're going to call the Woodlander update. Don't have a launch date quite on that, but in the next several weeks our show should go live. The big news in the Woodlander update is while it has some new characters and some new scenes and rooms and stuff, the big thing is that Liam becomes a playable character. And so now you'll be able to experience the whole game as Liam instead of as Sophia. In the broad strokes, it's the same story, but they have their very individual takes on what's going on, their own interactions with characters that are unique. So it's adding about 2.5 hours of additional voiceover to the whole thing if you want to play as Liam. So that's the big Woodlander update. And that should be live by Christmas time. And then apart from that content team, the programming team is really hustling getting the games ready for Xbox and PlayStation. So that's going well, but it's kind of a slog. We're wrestling with all of the performance questions about moving from the PC architecture to the console architecture, and there's just a lot of performance issues you have to do really well. But we're making great progress on that, and those should be live by Christmas. Cross your fingers. For that, go to legendsofredwall.com and you'll see kind of everything that's going on there. And beyond that, we are moving into Act 2. So that'll be a whole new SKU, a whole new episode, 5 scenes just like before, but all new levels. And so we've just started to tease out some of the gray boxing for that, but that's going really well. I don't want to promise any dates on all that kind of stuff, but from this point forward, we think that we've got some good bones. The mechanisms are there, the engine's there, not to say that we can't continue to improve it, but really now the new levels will be really honing in on what makes those things fun, kind of maximizing the experience. And we're excited about that. So what that brings us is I think we've got about a 10-minute slot here that we're trying to do. We've come from a single level early access build, which was a Christmas ago, and by now, by this Christmas, we're up to kind of have 6 SKUs in the store, which is really exciting. So that's the Scout on Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox. It's Escape the Gloomer on Alexa and on Steam. And then the last SKU is actually the soundtrack. We got such great music went into the Scout. People have been asking if they could just get the soundtrack. So Keith Medley and James Marentet and Seth Stanley have done great music. We've wrapped it all together. We've got about an full hour of music that's all been remastered and really brought up the level of quality. And we should be releasing that here really soon too, both as an add-on to Steam and a couple other places. So those are the big news. I feel like we've come a long, long way in a year, and we could not have done it without your support. We've had so much good feedback from fans and from players, and we've really tried to account for all of it if possible. I mean, some people have different opinions, of course, but we've really tried to be responsive, and that seems to be noticed. So we appreciate that you appreciate that we appreciate what's going on. Okay. That's about it. Take one last look at the set before we sign off, because we're super glad what Elizabeth did, and we hope to make some good use out of this thing. And we will see you next time on our developer update. Bye-bye. And happy Thanksgiving.